Let's talk self swinging.
Hey beautiful people, how you all doing today? It's your girl Destiny here and welcome to my channel. How you are doing? Hope you guys are doing great. So this video, honestly, it's going to be a raw reaction because I know the story is trending. Literally, the story is trending and it has gotten a lot of people talking. So I went on to react to it blindly because I really wanted to have that experience with two people. So apparently there is this dynamic that is going on with they call it the Momo wife. I don't know. I think they have like a reality show, if I'm not mistaken. Guys, if you know any of these ladies in this video and you know the show they are on, please let me know down in the comment section. So they are in the show, but also they're also on a mom TikTok, and they are on the conversation of soft swinging, how soft swinging ended their marriage and destroyed their marriage. That's the summary I know I can say. But so let's just go get a raw reaction to this story time and respond to the story time and respond to that response. Messy TikTok, guys. Anyway, guys, let's go check it out and then we'll come back and talk more.
Let's talk self swinging. I'm going to preface with a couple things. One, I'm going to record this all in one sitting and just release video after video so that you can follow along with the timeline and hopefully it all makes sense.
Okay.
The second thing is this is jumping from my last video, which ended at my end of second year of marriage. And this is jumping forward to the last 4 months of my marriage before I filed for divorce. And I was married almost 7 years. So yes, there's a big gap in there. I plan on tackling my postpartum depression within that time frame, but just didn't feel like it was the time and place right now. And then lastly, be kind. These are easily my biggest mistakes in life that I'm talking about publicly. So it's not easy. I do think it's important. I think so many people can learn from my mistakes, which is why I share. So be kind. Let's start from when we met them. I think there's a distinction that needs to be made very early on. There was my ex and myself, and then two other couples. Couple one is who we had soft swinging incidences with, and couple two was really good friends with couple one, and we would all hang out, and couple two participated in the drunk games. So I just think that's a clear distinction that needs to be made.
Okay.
So we met couple one and couple two in February of 2022, and it was at couple one's house party for Valentine's Day. And yeah, we all hit it off. They would regularly hang out couple one and couple two, and yeah, we started hanging out with them. And probably within the first couple weeks is when the drunk card games were starting to be played. And my ex and I had never played any sort of games like this. But I do remember after the first night of playing those drunk card games, both of us saying like, okay, well, if the other spouse isn't around, then it's not appropriate to play. So if I were gone, my ex shouldn't play and vice versa. So anyways, that started, and about a month after we met couple one and couple two, the guys within these couples planned a cabin trip. At this point, my ex and I were starting to fight pretty consistently. Truth be told, I think it's because I was starting to recognize things were happening between couple one's wife and him. Maybe not like anything big yet, but I could feel like a sense of feelings there. Anyways, we go to this cabin. We were up there 2 nights. The first night was a normal night. Yeah, and then night number 2 is when the first of 2 swinging instances happened. What I will say, and I take full responsibility here, I know how much liquor I can handle, and I know I went way past my limits this evening. Yeah. However, I made my choices. Yeah, I made my choices. So I remember being in a room, and it wasn't my room. My ex and I were staying in this like detached mother-in-law part of the cabin. So I know we were in the main house. I don't know whose room we were in, but I remember being in there with my ex, and I know we were making out. I don't know. I know that couple one comes in and we did switch partners, and yeah, soft swinging happened. For the details, I don't really know. Not that they even matter, but I don't remember all of the details. So the next day, I remember driving down the canyon with my ex, and it was just the two of us, and stating, like, we've never talked about this, like, ever talked about this. Basically the conclusion of, well, you made your own choices. And I did. I made my own choices. I want to make that clear. So that happened. Yeah. Right after the cabin, before I get into the next thing, right after the cabin, it had been a couple days, and I was saying to my ex, like, I feel like I noticed feelings between you and couple one's wife. And he said, oh, actually, I talked to her after the cabin, and we both recognize that, like, we get along really well and that feelings could grow. So yeah, we both don't want to go down that route because we're happy in our marriages. Anyways, so a couple weeks later, we're at couple one's house, and it was just like a normal house party. And yeah, that's when the second and final instance of soft swinging happened. That night, I went home with my ex, and I clearly remember this moment, and I remember looking at him and saying, if this is what you want, we can divorce now, because I won't participate any longer. I don't feel right. I was so ashamed of my decisions. And I went that same week to couple one's house and talked with the wife and said, like, I'm not here to judge on what you guys are doing, but I will no longer participate. That is not what we want to do. And yeah, we were good. Like, I think the conversation went well. But yeah, that was the only conversation we ever had about soft swinging. There was never any boundaries as a group that was talked about, or within my marriage of like, oh, here are the boundaries, here are the parameters, here are the rules. Like, nothing like that had ever been talked about, at least with me. Maybe others did, but as for myself, that was never a conversation. After this is when I would say my marriage really took a turn. I think anyone who has ever been cheated on knows the gaslighting that comes along with it. And I think this naturally just has to happen because the spouse who's cheating doesn't want their actions to be known. So when they're being questioned, the only way to go about it is to gaslight their partner. So my home life it was a really lonely time in my life. Yeah, it was just hard. So I remember point blank asking, like, what is it about her? Because I could see all the red flags happening. And yeah, I don't want to get into the details of that conversation, but it was a very hurtful conversation. Okay, so fast forward a few weeks, and we're now at the point in the timeline when things are going to start coming out about the affair. However, about a week before this day, couple one's wife had come to my ex and I talking about feelings that couple two's husband confessed for her. So anyways, that had happened about a week before, and I had gone to Disneyland in between this time with another friend who was mutual friends with this friend group. Anyways, and I told her about, like, hey, yeah, this is like what is going on in regards to the feelings. Admittedly, this was really wrong on my end. I was not a good friend to couple two or to couple one wife. Like, neither one of them was I a good friend to in that moment. So, and I have talked to couple two's wife about this extensively because I knew it was wrong in the moment. Granted, I think I had so many things happening in my life at that point in time that it was just like another thing, but it was wrong. I'm not here to deny that. So anyways, couple two's wife finds this out through this like mutual friend, and that's why we ended up all together on this date. Was that couple one's wife and I were going over there to talk through it with her. Anyways, it was a mess. It was just a mess. what ended up happening that day was that my car got towed. I didn't know I couldn't park in this on the street. So anyways, it gets towed. I called my ex, and it just ended up being that we were all together. I don't quite understand. I don't quite remember the details, but we were all together. Couple ones, they get into a fight, and he takes their kids and leaves. And I had our son there, so my ex and I was like, okay, it's like time to go. And as we were leaving, we had said to couple one's wife, who lived in our same neighborhood, like, we can either take you home or you can stay here, but you're not like going to drive. We actually had left, and couple one's wife calls us and was like, actually, can you take me home? So we turn back around, we go grab her. As we're pulling into the neighborhood, she's like, actually, I have another friend coming to grab me. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm like at the point where I'm like, I just don't care. Like, I already knew something was going on, but I was like, just don't care. So we get home. She left with her friend, and I know it was a fight between my ex and I, because he was like, that wasn't a good friend for you to let her go. And I was like, she knows where she should be. I don't know. I put our son to bed, and then I was getting in the bath, and my ex came in. So this is like the distinction I want to make, because I think it's the thought that I also want her to come back. No, I was getting in the bath. I was not around for any of this conversation. I'm getting in the bath, and my ex comes in and is like, hey, she says she's not in a good place. She wants me to go grab her. And I'm like, I don't care. She's not welcome here, but you can take her home. I don't care. At this point, it was like I knew more was going on, and I was just waiting for the like actual evidence, which sounds wild, I know, but that's where I was at. So he leaves, and I can see his location through the Tesla, not from his phone. Anyways, he like stops texting me back, and so I call her now ex. I'm like, look, I can see where they're at. I don't know, like, I don't feel comfortable going over there, but he's like, okay, I'll go like grab her. All I remember hearing from couple one's like husband is when he got there, he had called me and said like, can you flash your lights or something so I know that this is the right house? So I did, and I remember like hearing like movement, and then he said, Kenna, this isn't good, and that was it. So anyways, now back to my ex walking through the door. He went right upstairs, and I went into our room. I was like, this is your chance. Tell me now. This is your chance. And he didn't. And it was late at this point, probably like 1 a.m. I don't know. I am like just shutting down, and I go to bed. He's down on the couch, and the next day was my sister's birthday, so I took our son, went to my sister's birthday brunch, and I just remember before I got to the brunch, pulling into a parking lot, and couple two's wife had called me, and she was just crying with me because I'm trying to figure this out. And yeah, so I go to the brunch, and I'm just trying to hold it together, and I leave, and I come back home. So now it's probably like 3 or 4 in the afternoon, and my ex is like, okay, we kissed, but that's all that happened. And I'm like, okay. And I think I knew the end was coming, and it was just like so much weight was, I don't know. A few hours after that, couple two's wife called me and was like, Kenna, she just admitted they had, and I was like, okay. So I went out. I remember like looking at him on the couch, and I was like, you had with her? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, all right. And I grabbed my stuff and I left. My son was already asleep at this point. Grabbed my stuff and I left. And I remember I started driving to my parents' house, and I was on the phone with couple two's wife, and I was like, if I go home, it's done. Like, I'm done. So I turn around and I go to her house, and just, she opened the door, and I just collapsed into her. And we're talking, and while we were talking, there's still like information coming that couple one's husband would relay on that he was finding out. So anyways, a few hours later, I find out that they had been meeting up for some time now. They would meet up at Home Depot, which makes sense for location because I'm not going to question my ex if he's at Home Depot. And so here's what I found out. They'd been meeting up. They had told each other that they loved one another and that they had plans to leave their spouses. And I remember calling my ex and I said, this is what's been going on. And he said, yeah. And that's when I was like, I remember telling him, like, I'm done. I'm going home. And I think that this moment was so significant because a physical affair is I had worked through, and that sounds wild, but it's easier to work through than the emotional. And I think I was at the point where I was like, you can mess with me, but to want to leave and disrupt your son's life like that, I think that's where I just was like, yeah, I'm done. Like, you won't mess with him. So I left couple one's or couple two's house, and my sister at the time was living at my parents' house waiting for her house to be done. So I was just calling people in the order that I thought they would answer. So I called my sister, she didn't answer. I called my dad, he didn't answer, and then I called my mom. And at this point, it's like midnight. And if you know my mom, this is kind of ironic that she answered, and she could hear the panic in my voice. And I said, I'm coming home. I need you and Dad. Okay, now that I've gained some composure, my sister ended up calling me back, and I said, hey, I'm on my way home. I'm gonna need you. So I pulled into my parents' house, and they were all waiting for me, and I remember it feeling like so hard to say the words that he was having an affair on me. So anyways, we're sitting on my parents' couch, and I'm like, I need to get my son here. Here's the thing. I had my whole family. My ex, his parents were out of town, and he had his sister come over, but I'm not going to go into detail, but I was just concerned. He just didn't have the support that I had in that moment. And if you're a mom, you just know, like, you just need your babies. So my sister went and grabbed my son, and during this, when she left, I knew, like, this is the time to come clean about everything. Here's what I'll say. My parents were so amazing in this moment. They didn't even know that I had been drinking, and then I just, like, word vomit everything on them. And I know how disappointed they were. I was so disappointed myself and so ashamed. And they were just like, it's gonna be okay. Like, it will all work itself out. So they were really, really good in that moment. And so anyways, my sister comes back. I put my son to bed, and my sister was like, I'll come stay in the same room as you tonight so you're not alone. Which, bless her soul, she was breastfeeding at the time, and she just had milk coming because I was just crying. But she said, my ex's sister was there, so my ex-sister-in-law was there when she went to pick up my son, and she said, she said that she knew this would happen when you wanted to start swinging. And I think that was the moment that I was like, oh my gosh, like, that's not how this happened. And I think that's when I was the first, like, realization of this was so much deeper than what I thought. Yeah, and that was the whole I do plan on talking about my divorce process and how that all happened. Again, be kind. These are really hard things to talk about, but yeah, be kind.
Let me know what you think about that story down in the comment section and go ahead and share your thoughts. The other lady has responded, like the whole mess that's going on TikTok lately. Like sometimes I feel like TikTok is an unreal place. So the lady, the other mom, or the other wife she was talking about, decided to respond, and we're going to get to a response. But let me know if you think that doing soft swinging. And by the way, what does soft swinging mean? Are you swinging or soft? What's the difference between swinging and soft swinging? So let me know if you think that the soft swinging was what caused everything for their marriage to end. Let me know your own take. But let's go get the other woman's response to this accusation, because she was accused of being the one they cheated with. That might making sense. Anyway, let's go check it out and then we'll come back and talk more.
Hi. I am fighting two different battles at once and I am literally exhausted. You know who? I'm on with more receipts. This is the last thing I'm saying. If anything else comes out, I don't care. Like, you guys can assume what you want, the worst of me. Point was, she did enjoy it and she never wanted to stop. Her receipts that she show are in April, by the way. So to say that you're like feeling like you don't want to do this anymore. If she had wanted to stop, we have a planned trip in May to go to Mexico, but all 6 of us were like talking about our boundaries and like what was gonna happen. Okay? If I need to get the flight receipts of that being planned out for all 6 of us, I will. It's frustrating when they're all coming out to tell the truth and it's a little bit of, I didn't really want to do it. Like, I wanted to stop. I wasn't enjoying it. They enjoyed it, and I can show you guys how they enjoyed it. Never said she wanted to stop. My ex brought us together and said he wants to stop, and that has been my story for 2 years now. My story has been consistent for 2 years. Well, there was also I love yous, blah, blah, blah. It was an emotional affair. Like, did you want me to give a play-by-play of what was said? I've already admitted and apologized for my part. Knew I was a villain in that story as well, and I've held a lot of guilt for that. And the timing of all of this sucks because I'm coming out from one direction and I'm having to defend myself of not being a liar. Another direction of friends of mine that are no longer going to be friends. Lucky for me, I've had a lot of practice with this type of thing. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted.
This is messy. This is messy. Now, the other lady now is responding to our own claim that she enjoyed it, and this is what she had to say.
Okay, let's talk intentions and receipts. My intention has stayed the same. I am in a very healed spot and I hope that others can learn from my mistakes. I think a lot of people assume it's for the show. I have been offered the show multiple times and I have declined every single time. As for the receipts, let's talk about the video and the text message. Okay, when that text message was sent, my ex and I were in St. George with a different group of friends, and her ex were in Moab. So, as you can see, let me see if I know how to work this little pincher thing. As you can see, here is that text message that she showed. Hope you're having fun in Moab and I'm drunk and I wish I was kissing you. There's her response. And then I'm instantly confused saying I have 0 memories of any text going to you. And I say, what did it say? Was it a voice message? So, this was sent on my iPhone from my ex, and he deleted the text message that he had sent to her, so I could not see that message. Do you know where it is at? On my iCloud, on my iPad. So, then let's move to this next picture. Okay, so I had talked to her about him sending this text message and putting me in a different light without me knowing. Ugh, I can't move this. So, as you can see right here, I said there's more of backstory to the text that was sent to you in St. George. I was talking about you and wanting you there, and he texted you on my phone. Like we talked about last night, I felt like I was painted into this picture. Okay, and then that's her response. So yeah, I find it odd that that's what she chose to share when her and I had a full conversation about it. As for having a conversation with her about wanting to be done, this was right after the second swinging instance happened. As you can see she says, "Do you have moral hangover?" And I said, "Did my ex say something to you?" And I said, "Well, it's something him and I need to talk about more, but we were both hungover. Don't worry though, I know I can talk to you about once I figure out my life." Okay, and then she goes on to say that her and her ex have strict boundaries. So her and I had this conversation, and I said that we were no longer wanting to swing. That doesn't mean that any other drunk nights didn't happen or her and I kissing never happened again. Not saying that's right, it's actually really dumb, but I'm just stating that my ex and I were never in a room again switching with another couple and swinging past this point. As for her and I kissing, it was this like flirty, naughty little thing that we would do when we were drunk to either send to our husbands or they would record it. Again, wrong decision, but two drunk girls kissing is different than swinging. As for the night that my ex went to go get her, one, do we think it's a possibility that what I said was relayed differently to her? And also, this was not the entirety of their affair, this one night. This was the snowball that started us figuring out the information of meeting up at Home Depot, saying that they loved each other, and putting a plan together to leave their spouses. Again, be kind. We are all just humans.
Let's stop the story here. I would let you guys know if there's any updates on the story. If any of the men respond or if there's more respond, I'm going to let you guys know. So please go down in the comment section and share your thoughts. Love to know what you think about this conversation down in the comment section. But as always, please keep it respectful, okay? Here on this channel, we're allowed to disagree, but we do it in a respectful way. So go ahead, feel free and share your thoughts. So yeah, it's my own take on this is that I don't like. First of, you guys, let me know your own take about swinging. And like I said before, what's the difference between swinging, hard swinging, and soft swinging? Because I keep saying soft swinging and all that. For me, I am the type of person that if I'm with you, if I'm with one person, I'm with one person. I'm that, and I expect you to be like that. I expect you to take what the commitment we've put together to be in a relationship, take it serious. So I am not the type that I can't comprehend the swinging thing. I cannot comprehend the swinging thing. But also, I understand that there are people that this is their own dynamic. This is what works for them. This is a thing. But I feel like once there is a third person in that bedroom with you guys, knowingly or unknowingly, there's always some type of awkward feeling and energy that comes in with it. And at the end of the day, it ends up destroying the relationship that was there before. I don't know. That's my own. If you know that you've been in a swinger relationship or even an open relationship, let me know down in the comment section how that really works. Because that's my own take on it. I feel like when you um when you are like third person into the bedroom, there's also something that switched. There's something that just go off. Something just goes off and ends up this. And for her to talk about that, that's one of the things that kind of ended her marriage with her ex. I get it, but my own is that why are they talking about it? And mind you, these are the women that are online, like just living their best life, telling you how awesome it is to be a mom, how they are a fantastic mom and all that. But this is what they are doing. I'm not judging though, but you see why I'll say that everybody, this life is not tailored a certain way. And I also feel like there are some women that will go in this type of lifestyle, which I'm not saying she was forced into it. There are some women that will go into this type of lifestyle just because they want to keep their marriage, they want to keep their man because that's what their man likes and all that. I know that there are some women that will do that, but this is why we talk here on this channel. Like, something doesn't serve you, it doesn't serve you. It does not serve you. But it's also shady for the other lady for them to be doing their self swinging, and yet you are having feelings with your other friend's husband. You guys are already in a swinging relationship. Why don't you guys just be honest about it than just going beside and making it like a cheating? But for me, either way, they are all cheating. All of them are cheating. Whether it's soft swinging or whether it's hard swinging or it is just cheating. Like, I'm just like, oh god, this story is just so messy that I don't even have anything to say. Anyway, guys, please go down in the comment section and share your thought. Love to know what you think about this story down in the comment section. But as always, keep it respectful. Go on and share this video with somebody that you want to be part of the conversation, because that's what we do here. We have banging conversation. So go on and share this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, smash the like button, because this helps YouTube to push up my content for more people to see, and that will be you supporting this channel and this girl here. So go on and do that. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Deuces.